what do we talk about baseball right now? Because football's in full swing. People's attention is pretty much on football right now. But baseball's still going on. The playoffs are coming up. There's been injuries. Rookies have been called up. Rookies have been playing better. Give me like a minute or so synopsis of the baseball market right now, potentially moving forward. Just give me your raw thoughts about the baseball area of the hobby.
Well, Otani has taken a huge step right now. I have a couple of his cards that I'm bag holding at this point. Um, yeah, I think people like J Rod, he's finally coming around, proving all the naysayers wrong because they need him to be an absolute superstar, 162 games out of the season. And I'm glad he's
Amen
finally
to that.
shutting some people up who said that he was done, even though he's like, what, 22 years old or something like that.
Sophomore slump happens all the time.
Like, and now they're saying the same thing about Ellie De La Cruz, who's been in the league for like 2 minutes. Like, I just don't understand the rush to say, wow, the rush to just call people bad. Like
Yeah,
Ellie De La Cruz, he's a monster. He's huge. He's fat. He hits bombs. He throws 100 miles an hour as an infielder. Like he's going to be a star. And the
takes
fact
time.
that people are already jumping his cards because he's in a slump is just insane to me.
Now, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do want to insert a quick question. Do you think people are dumping his cards because of his slump, because he sucks, because they potentially paid a high price for said cards in the height of his market? Obviously, it's fallen down. But do you think like, oh my God, my $2,000 card is only worth $1,000 now. Let me try to sell it or recoup instead of bracing the storm and holding and like waiting for it to tick back up?
Well, situations like that is when you need to distinguish yourself as either an investor or a flipper. I
Mm-hmm.
know we've talked about this before, but if you're buying that $2,000 Ellie De La Cruz card, are you buying it to invest or are you buying it to flip? If you're
That's
buying it to invest, it can go up in the next couple of years if the Reds make the playoffs and all that good stuff. But if you're buying it to flip, you have to get rid of that in 2 seconds.
mm-hmm.
When
Overnight.
when the cards are at their peak, that's just about as high as it can go.
And I think what oftentimes people get confused about is they don't understand or they don't see the peak. Like we can't really sit here and point to a specific time where Ellie's peak was. I mean, if we look at charts and market sales of his cars, we could probably find a peak. But like, just sitting here talking, mid August was his peak or mid July, whatever his peak was, right? But people will buy the cards thinking that they're not buying into the peak. They're thinking that they're buying into the incline of the market where it's still going to continuously rise. Again, if you get into it early enough, correct. Yes, people that bought his cards during the off season, during the early part of the season before he got called up, and then even early on when he did get called up before the slump. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. But young players specifically, I mean, even veterans go through slumps all the time. It's a long, long season. I mean, I love how you brought up the whole J Rod thing. I'll continuously say this story. Nobody wanted J Rod cards before the start of last season. Blows up, home run derby, crazy run. Everybody wants J Rod cards all off season, even into the start of the season. Then the 22-year-old, however old he is, struggles. Nobody wants his cards anymore. Oh my God, J Rod. Oh my God, his market's collapsing. Nobody wants his cards. He sucks. He's not who he thought he was. Then he blows up again in the home run derby. And then he goes on this absolute crazy tear where he's, 30-30 guy and
Mm-hmm.
leading the Mariners to another postseason berth. And now everybody wants his cards again. And Ellie, nobody wanted his cards all offseason. He comes up, he hits a massive home run, he throws very fast, he runs very fast, and now everybody
So
wants his
cycle
cards. hit for the cycle even. So it's like baseball's a long, and now he's struggling. He has one home run in the past month. I mean, that's pretty much where he got his name to fame, was hitting these massive home runs and pimping them out. And the Reds are probably going to make the playoff. I mean, I don't know. That wild card race is just crazy. So, I mean, I could say
Yeah,
one day that they will and one day that they're not, but whatever. They're in the
they're a
mix.
game out of the wild card picture.
There we go. So they're on the verge. They're on the hunt. They could not. But like, it's really tough to get behind a young player like that, because let's say Ellie never had a slump this year. Oh, he's going crazy. He's going to win the Rookie of the Year, let's say. But then let's say he starts next season on a slump. Nobody going to want his cards then, just like with J-Rod. Baseball's a long season. A player could hit 4 home runs today, which has happened, a handful of times. And I guarantee you that it does nothing for that player's market, unless it's like a J-Rod or unless it's like a Ellie De La Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
You could say Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero Jr. I'm just trying to think of guys we've invested in before. Jazz Chisholm. These guys could hit 4 home. By the way, he's hit 2 grand slams back-to-back nights, like earlier last week. No one's talking about it. I think that's pretty cool. Royce Lewis hitting 4 grand slams in like 20 games.
20 games.
Crazy. No one's talking about it. But a player could hit 4 home runs, which again has happened a handful of times in the history of the game. And I don't think it would do anything for the market. A player could strike out 5 times in a game, which I don't know how many times that's happened in a 9-inning game. And I bet that would still do absolutely nothing for that player's market. Can't look at it one game at a time. You got to look at it as the whole season. And with baseball having 162 games, it's a very tough sport to watch for casual people compared to football. People just overreact very, very fast to things. And I think people overreacted to the height and rise of Ellie. And now they're reacting very fast and hard to the decline, or the decline that we're currently seeing right now. So baseball's tough. Prospecting's tough. You need patience. That's why I sit here and say this all the time. You need patience. You need patience to invest in baseball, because a player's going to look good for a little bit. They're going to look bad. It's a long sport. I guarantee you 20 years from now, if Julio's on the same track record that he's currently on, he's probably a Hall of Famer. But people don't want to wait for 20 years. They want right now. They want to buy it for 100 and flip it for 200. You mentioned it last time. You buy it for X, you sell it for Y. You want that quick gratification. It's just, you can't do that with baseball. You can do it with football because there's only 17 games and it's on one every Sunday. And like, they play well on Sunday. All right, flip it on Monday. If they play bad, maybe buy and hold on Monday. It's just, football's quicker. What are you going to say?
Well, it's like, even now for baseball, people don't want. I just don't understand it, because people don't want Hall of Fame. They want potential Hall of Fame. So it's like people would rather buy into these prospects who would be lucky to have a career of like Mookie Betts.
Can I ask you this real quick? And I've done this example with football, but I want to do this example with baseball because I think it's, comparatively speaking, Miguel Cabrera. He's about to retire at the end of the season. Sure bet Hall of Famer, 500 home runs, 3,100 hits. And I don't know about you, but I don't know a single person looking for Miguel Cabrera cards. People last year were looking for Albert Pujols cards when he was going on the verge of 700 home runs and such like that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, is anybody talking about Albert Pujols a year later? Nope. So Miguel Cabrera, first ballot Hall of Famer, all the accolades in the world you could want, all the awards you could want, World Series title even to boot in 2003. People forget about that with the Marlins,
Yeah.
Florida Marlins. If you could pick any of these young players right now, pick Julio, pick Ellie, pick Anthony Volpe, Jason Dominguez, pick anybody. If they have a 80% career, 75% career that Miguel Cabrera has, they're probably a Hall of Famer still. But their cards are going to be worth thousands of dollars compared to Miguel Cabrera's. And it makes absolutely no sense. And the football example that I alluded to is Joe Montana. Nobody cares about Joe Montana. Best quarterback of all time for a very long time until Brady, went on his second dynasty run. And I think it's safe to say that Montana is still probably the second best quarterback. 4-time Super Bowl champion, 4 for 4 in the Super Bowl. But if a Herbert, if a Burrow, if trying to think of another guy. Jalen Hurts, for instance, has half the career that he has. They're probably regarded as one of the best ever. They're Hall of Famers, and their cards are going to be selling for thousands, some of them millions. Why? It's just I understand the market's different, and these guys aren't on TV. Well, Miguel Cabrera still is, but it's just like the potential and the hype. Like, where do we truly expect a Justin Herbert in an Ellie De La Cruz market to really, really, really go? Is Ellie going to hit 4,000 hits? Well, he's still not the best ever because Pete Rose has, what, 4,200 or whatever. Justin Herbert's probably not going to win 8 Super Bowls. Like, where's the cutoff point? Like, sorry, I just had to go on a quick little rant there. But, like,
No, I get
oh,
it.
oh,
It's frustrating because I don't understand it either. But I think guys like that, like Montana, even maybe because, like you said, he's still active. But it's more so these younger like flippers, investors, whatever. They don't have an attachment to Joe Montana or even Miguel Cabrera.
that's a good point. That's a very good
So it's
point.
like a lot of the market for Joe Montana, other like older baseball players who aren't in the league anymore, something like that. And people question, oh, they're in the Hall of Fame. Why aren't they hard so much? It's because their market is driven by nostalgia, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So like kids right now aren't seeing what Joe Montana did. They're seeing what Herbert is doing. They're seeing what Burrow is doing. So
I love that.
that's why they want to buy into these young people. Like even though I'm explaining this right now, it still doesn't necessarily make sense to me. But I think that's why the Hall of Fame people are priced this way, and the potential superstars are priced double, triple, whatever they are of them.
And I think, and I agree with everything that you said there. I tell people all the time, it's the market is, what are you doing for me right now? Joe Montana's not
Exactly.
doing anything for us right now. Miguel Cabrera, well, yeah, I mean, he's not Miguel, he's not the Miguel Cabrera that we remember,
Yeah.
the Triple Crown winner, the MVP winner, but he's still doing something for me right now. But being on the Tigers, and I guess he's not making a playoff run, I think maybe that would help him, making a playoff run his last year. I think that'd be kind of cool, and that would help. But Herbert's on every Sunday, Ellie De La Cruz is on every night, and people can tune in and watch. They could literally, it's my phone, but I could watch my Ellie card go up or go down by watching the game right now on the TV. I can watch my Herbert, my Burrow card go up or down by watching them on the TV. It's just, I think collectors will collect the Hall of Famers because they're sure bet. I mean, tons of older people will come in that, they don't understand why all these young guys have all this value compared to these Hall of Famers. I mean, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, any of these guys could flame out this year. I mean, knock on wood that they don't, but like they could completely flame out this year and they're never the same player again. It just could, like, a Joe Montana rookie card being from, I forget what year, 81. Don't quote me on that. Or 79. I don't know. Whatever year his rookie year was, where the market, there was rookie cards everywhere. Actually, now I got to look it up because this is going to piss me off. Joe Montana rookie year. Okay, it is 1979. So it's before the junk wax, but besides the point, Jerry Rice, best wide receiver of all time. People are buying Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase cards through the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're on track to have a similar career. But again, if they have half the career that Jerry Rice has, they're Hall of Famers. They're best ever. And Jerry Rice's rookie season was, I believe, 84, 85, right before the junk wax, but still kind of saturated. And his rookie cards are less than $100. It's just puzzling to me. But it's something that you need to wrap your head around and understand it without truly understanding it. Like, you just almost have
Yeah.
to accept the fact
Go
that,
with the flow.
like, Bryce Young cards right now are going to be more expensive than Joe Montana cards. He's 0-2. As much as I love him, as much as the potential he has, that's just the nature that we live in. Caleb Williams will probably be the number 1 overall pick in the draft in April. His cards out of the gate are probably going to be worth more than Joe Montana cards. We just have to accept that. And I mean, if you're a Joe Montana fan and collector, you probably love that because that means his cards are cheap. But if you're trying to live in a utopic reality, it makes no sense.